Welcome to the podcast Running Toward. This podcast tells stories of ordinary people who couldn't look away once they saw the hidden crisis in foster care and the families impacted. Our guests share heartbreak that led them to take reluctant and unexpected small, faithful steps toward the most vulnerable in their communities. Not because they had a plan, and not because they felt ready, but because they couldn't unsee their pain. You'll hear how people living normal lives discovered that getting closer changed them. Their comfort mattered less, their grip on uncertainty faded, and their faith got feet in quiet, everyday ways. Ending the crisis for one or for all isn't a quick fix. It's a long, slow, often messy journey alongside one of the most overlooked and misunderstood groups in our community. Running Toward gives you a front row seat to the hidden crisis in foster care and the families impacted, and to the ordinary people who choose not to look away. Hey, welcome back to the Running Toward podcast. Today we have a fun episode of somebody who is actually professionally trained in child development and thought heading into foster care that, had a little more knowledge than most and it's maybe a little more prepared for most, but as foster care does in all things, it's levels the playing field and you realize that there's so much more involved in it than you even thought. So today I'm excited to have Kendall with us. Thanks for joining me.
You're welcome.
So tell me what a normal day in the Cox family looks like.
We have a teenager and an almost teenager.
So hormones, lots of hormones.
I mean, I have them too. Yeah. So it's busy. They don't drive, so all the things that they go to, we get to take them to. I'm trying to be very thankful for those times.
Because they'll go away.
Yeah. Together in the car, or we have to talk or sing or whatever. But yeah, it's busy. They're doing lots of things, but it's fun to get to see them do lots of things.
Sweet. And what do you do? Do you say work from home, work in the home, work outside the home?
I am an occupational therapist, so I have worked in the healthcare world for many years, but now I work in an adjacent to the healthcare world. So I own my own business with my business partner, who's a physical therapist. And aren't they great?
They are great.
And we own a business that helps people modify their homes after they've had maybe a catastrophic change, so mobility or physical changes, all the way to people who maybe are just wanting to stay in their home and make changes to their home. They're aging. Their home needs to support them more.
Right.
Kind of the whole gamut.
Sweet. Great. Well, let's go back before you kind of got your feet wet in foster care. So before the world of foster care came into your life personally, did you have a history with it professionally? Because OTs a lot of times sometimes see kids that are in the foster care system or, had some developmental delays due to drug abuse, drug exposure, stuff like that. Did you have a lens for foster care before?
No, not at all. Do kids have developmental delays? Sure. I worked in an outpatient clinic, so most of the kids that I was hanging out with, they were with their bio families, and so whatever happened. But it probably wasn't because of neglect or abuse or anything, at least that I knew about. Have I called CPS as someone who has to? Yes, I have.
Reporter.
But other than that, no, I didn't see foster care in my daily life. It wasn't talked about in school.
Yeah. So any other exposure to it? Any other spaces?
I mean, generally no. Weirdly enough, there's a project we have to do at the end of our graduate school. I don't even know what they call it anymore, but it's basically like this project that you have to do. That's a great descriptor. You get to pick what you want to do, really. You just have to figure out how to do it. And the premise is like, figure out how to have OT in the community setting. So not in a hospital, not in a clinic.
Right.
And I couldn't even tell you how I got to this answer looking back, but also my memory can be a little bit subject sometimes. But yeah, I figured out how to get into Child Protective Services and do my final project on figuring out how to have OTs as part of their intake process. So kiddos come in, or whatever the thing is. And how can we have an early screening for developmental delays?
Yep.
Because it takes weeks, if not months. Do the PCPs even realize that there are developmental delays? Do the foster parents even realize that there are things going on? Because there's a lot going on.
Right.
Anyway, so my idea was just to have a screener very early in the process. And then if they needed follow-up, then great.
Right.
But at least we could do it from the beginning instead of waiting 6 months.
Absolutely. Early intervention. I know several of the kiddos I had got early intervention, but also I'm a PT. So I was like, and we're going to get evaluated for this because I can already see the writing on the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, though, that don't have that eye.
So before you and your husband toe dipped into foster care, what was family planning for you guys? Have biological kids, still work careers? Like, what were you thinking was trajectory of y'all's family?
That far back.
Yeah.
Remember the memory thing? I will say, if I get it wrong, you guys are welcome to ask my husband.
We will. We'll confirm.
But we both had careers.
Yeah.
And so we were both working and enjoying the dink life, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
And enjoying life. And then, it was like, okay, let's mix this up. So then we have a kid and we have kiddos. And that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of a typical...
Right.
You work, you have kids, and then you do the next thing.
Right. So how did foster care enter the picture?
Through church.
Yeah.
So, I know, dates are hard.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. In the 2010s.
Right.
Back in the ancient history of the 2010s.
Pre-COVID.
At church, there were families that were fostering.
Yeah.
And so we saw those families. We saw those kiddos. They became friends. They weren't a statistic.
Right.
Did we even know about statistics at that time? Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
For sure not.
So it was just like, oh, what is this? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't met you before. Are you in town? Are you a cousin? What is it? And then knowing those families more and then hearing their stories and hearing statistics from them. And, okay, wow. So I think that's how we became aware of it.
Yeah. So when you first started becoming aware of it, was something that you're like, we'll probably do this one day? Or you're like, that's awesome for them and I will bring them a meal and I'm so excited for their lives. But
so excited for that calling in their life.
Right. I'm glad that they have that. And I'm over here. I'll just do other things.
No. I mean, it definitely strikes you.
Yeah.
When you personally see kiddos in front of you. When you see their foster parents and you hear their story. And then when someone speaks, like at an info meeting, or probably that was the next step, when someone speaks to the real hurt going on in your city, we live here, we don't plan on moving anywhere. Even in the 2010s, we didn't plan on moving anywhere. We were here, and so it was like you see all this hurt in your city, and you're like, wow, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
So definitely, I definitely cried hearing that stuff. It's awful. And I worked with kids. And so I think it just, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe other people cry as well. But to me, it just hit like, there's an innocent child and that is their story.
Yeah. Was there a moment when you or your husband were like, this is what we're going to do? I feel called to this. Or was it just a gradual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely more of a gradual where I was like, wow, can you believe this is going on?
Yeah.
No, I can't believe this is going on. That's not what he sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't either. It's kind of like that. And then that's like over spaghetti and spaghetti's flying. And you're like, okay, I guess we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
And then you bring it up again, but you don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I think it does for some people, at least for us, it did kind of have to sit with us.
Yeah.
And I definitely can be someone that jumps in reactive. I like to say I would like to be responsible. Responsive. Responsive.
There you go.
And responsible. I would like to be responsive, not reactive, because I very much can be reactive.
Yeah.
So I think taking that pause, I like to think that was maturity.
Yeah. We'll call it that.
Very much could have been scared off my feet.
Right.
But going to an info meeting, And then, our story is we did kind of like step in little bit by little bit. But that's how I get into a cold pool too.
For sure. Were there fears that made you go slower or made you pause more? Were there things you saw in other families where you're like, I don't know, that's for our family?
Mm-hmm. I think fears are mostly around unknown.
For sure.
I don't think it was necessarily like, that's not true. It was necessarily that. But I think at first it was fear of like just change. Like, we're just trying to figure out these two kids that are changing all the time. As soon as I get to know them, they're changing. Can't we just have a week where I understand them and what they're trying to communicate with me? And it seems like we are barely handling what we're doing now.
Yeah.
How are we going to add more to this plate? So I think those are the initial kind of fears or pauses.
Yeah.
And then we dipped in more and decided, well, let's do respite care.
Yeah.
This is something where we can be fun aunt and uncle for the weekend. Take them out to all the fun places.
Right. Ice cream.
That we won't take our own kids to. They loved it when we were respite providers for a weekend. Oh my gosh, we're actually do fun things this weekend? Yeah, we are. Let's do it. And then they're
Bye.
Yep. Their foster parents come back and they're like, thank you so much. And it's heartwarming to us. We're like, oh, you're so welcome. They're gems.
Yeah.
As we're handing them back to them.
Like, it's fun when you entertain them all the time. They're really
good luck, friends. Good luck.
Yeah.
So that was a way we could kind of dip our toes in, see what it was like, get an upfront, but not, quote, permanent.
Yeah.
Not a permanent yes, just a yes for a little bit.
Yeah. Were you all on the same page when you finally decided, hey, we're going to go do classes. We're going to actually do this thing?
Well, interestingly enough, with respite, so we did like the full respite. So we were up to 2 week providers.
You a long time. So you basically did everything but the home study.
We have basically done all the classes, listened to all the...
You got bait and switch. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Listened to all the things, took it all in. And then had kiddos for the weekend.
Yeah.
And we would have kiddos for a week. Sometimes we would do that. It just depends on schedules, obviously. But we got to do all of that and have the classes and then say, okay, is it our turn or do we keep being respite?
Yeah. And then there was a moment where you were like, yeah, we're going to do this.
I know. So I think we had a small house, an old small house. By American standards.
Right.
And we had kiddos in for the weekend. And so there was a lot of people in this house. And there was one bathroom. And I don't remember what was the big deal about the one bathroom. I think it was all the rules. Understandable surrounding privacy. But as a family that only had one bathroom, it was, there's no privacy. It's the door's open, walk in, whatever. So it was like, wow, that's going to be a change. I'm sure people are cringing. What? The door was open to your bathroom?
Yeah. When you have little kids, that's just you don't get to go to the bathroom in private.
So it was like, wow, that'll be a big change. So we really tried to figure out how to actually put another bathroom in our 2-bedroom, 1-bath house to see if we could just do that. And it never was feasible. So for whatever reason, that was kind of a point for us. Like, I feel like we've got to have another bathroom.
Right.
I don't know why. You think back on that and I'm saying it out loud going, make that make sense.
But you do. Now you have teenagers and you're like, for sure need another bathroom.
Definitely by, again, American standards.
For sure. But also for your sanity. Yeah.
Yeah. So at some point that became like, I think we need a new house.
Yeah.
Which again is like wild to say.
Right.
But really like becoming foster parents was a big driver for that. And then there was also, like you said, people are getting bigger, kids are getting bigger, that kind of thing. But those are more comforts. Those aren't necessities. And again, can you foster with one bathroom? Yes.
For sure.
You can.
Yeah. Yeah. So y'all take classes. Doesn't scare you. I mean, you've already done the classes, but then you do the last little bit and you're open. What were y'all going in? Like, we're just going to foster? We'll adopt if maybe? Like, or did you even have any thought about it?
We didn't specifically feel like we had a calling on our heart to adopt. That doesn't mean that door was closed.
Right.
But our kind of mission as a family in serving in this space was just to provide a safe place for kiddos while their family figured out the stuff that they needed to figure out.
Yeah. Did you feel, because you're OT, I mean, I don't know that I've shared, but I was a PT before starting the Alliance. You kind of have this like little bit of a leg up as far as knowledge of biology and chemistry and all the developmental stuff. Mm-hmm. Did you go into it thinking, well, I kind of know a little more, like this should be a little easier, I can spot the things, I can handle the things a little better? Or were you, because of your time respite, you were like, no, I understand?
No, I definitely thought this will be easier than it is for some people because I have this knowledge already. Yep. Trauma, though, like trauma-informed care, I don't remember that really being a phrase. I feel like the public knows a lot more about that phrase nowadays.
Yeah, I don't. When we first trained as foster families, it wasn't.
They weren't using
as big. I mean, they talked about trauma, but there wasn't necessarily training in trauma-informed care, and this is how you connect and correct and all the things that they have now. It was just like, they have trauma. I'm like, okay.
Right. And so my understanding or definition of trauma at that point came from the medical world. So like kids have medical trauma, absolutely. Especially kiddos that have been through NICU and have been intubated. There are all kinds of developmental delays that potentially can happen just from experiencing that, even though they don't remember it.
Yeah,
but
their bodies do.
Is very true. But as far as like trauma from situations or family trauma, that wasn't something that I was really aware of.
Right.
Or what that could look like.
In your home.
And I'm thinking about like behaviors now.
Yeah.
And how that is experienced on the outside, right? Because we know there's a lot going on the inside that we really can't see. But how it feels on the outside. How
it plays,
to that kiddo, but also to everyone else around them. And I hadn't really experienced anything like that. Probably some of my kiddos that had sensory differences or maybe had a diagnosis of autism, especially on the more like severe side of that. I was like, okay, I've seen that before. But again, I'm their therapist.
Yeah.
I get to hang out with them for an hour and then I get to give them back. And I don't have to go home.
You're managing all that for 1 hour. And then you're like, great. Yeah. So big shift from 1 hour professional to 24/7 foster mom.
Absolutely. And why don't kids go to bed earlier? I love myself a schedule. And so we would definitely try to have that kind of be our foundation in our family. And I do believe that it's helpful and grounding for kids to kind of know what to expect. But yeah, a lot of kids just really don't care about what you think is good for them.
They really don't. They really don't. No. And it comes back to that trauma. It's survival. Sometimes the bathroom is scary. Sometimes the bedroom is scary. Like all those things that, especially if they're not verbal, they're little enough, you have no idea. They'd have no idea. They just know my body responds to this and I let it fly and everybody's left to figure out how do we make it through bath time and how do we get into bed with less than 2 hour fallout.
Yeah. 2 things. Did you know that the tooth fairy is horrifying? I didn't.
No,
that didn't happen until our kindergartner lost her first tooth with us, which was like, oh, we're, yay. But also like, oh,
right.
Your parents are missing this.
Right.
And I didn't say anything, but one of my older kiddos said, oh my goodness, that means the tooth fairy's coming. Who's the tooth fairy? And he went on to explain what the tooth fairy was. And as he was explaining it to her, you can see it turning in her head. So you're telling me this is exciting, that someone I don't know will come into my room tonight while I'm sleeping and will be next to me and get my tooth underneath my pillow, and I'm supposed to be excited about that.
Right.
And like as he's telling her, I'm like, no, stop. This is, no.
But you start seeing the world with a different lens. Like all the things that you're like, this is normal and good and healthy and happy. It wasn't for them.
Oh, no. And for her and her background and her trauma, that was especially horrifying.
Yeah.
That someone would come into her room at night that she did not know. And that was a long night.
I bet it was. She's like, and none of these teeth are coming out ever again. Like, I'm not losing another tooth.
Yeah. What did we learn? That the tooth fairy can have a different contract with each family.
Good. Perfect.
They can also have a different contract with each kiddo within your family. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so actually, the tooth fairy is going to change what she usually does. That's what she did for our other kiddo.
That's great. Flexibility is good.
Oh, flexibility comes at least by 11 p.m. that night.
For sure.
We tried a lot of different flexibility things. But yes, the tooth fairy just left the money on the front door.
Perfect.
Didn't even come into the house.
What an empathetic, compassionate tooth fairy. That's great.
It was.
It's really good.
That was so... And she remembered that night, too.
I'm sure she did. So was Santa Claus scary at presents in the middle, waking up to presents, somebody being in the house, or was it just her room that was?
Santa Claus did not visit that child at our house.
Ah, gotcha.
Who didn't have to go.
You didn't have to figure that
one out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I also think as being a parent, speaking of like trauma and like why you made an example, like why is bath time so hard or something that we just wouldn't expect. I would just go down that road of trying to figure it out.
Right.
And you can't.
And
it's so much speculation and so much trying to decide what it could be. And there's no way to know.
No.
And so I think sometimes that drove me crazy.
Yeah.
In retrospect, like I was just trying all these things like, well, I'm just going to try to figure it out. And once we figure it out, then we'll be able to mitigate and divert and
control,
not have to go down this thing again.
I think we hear that, like it's seriously a common thread through all these podcasts about control and thinking. I think it's an Western American thing, but then especially like you and I, we're in medical professions where we're like, what's the problem? We can fix it.
Here's the protocol.
Yeah, here's where we're going to walk through. Here's some, different branches that we can run to figure out, but we're going to it's solvable. Like we'll fix this. And then you get into foster care and you're like, this is a circle. Like there's no finish line. It's just this like spiral of like, well, we had a good day on Tuesday, but that didn't work on Thursday. And then, that worked this year, but it didn't work next year. And I think that is one of the biggest learning curves. I mean, and it applies to other areas of life. But
Absolutely.
I think in foster care, it's just like right in your face where you're like, oh, okay, A plus B doesn't equal C.
There's no way around it. Yeah, because it's a part of every minute of every day.
All the time.
Yeah.
And, you have that with normal kids where you learn them and then they go into some new developmental season. You're like, well, okay, now we're going something new. But on foster care, it's just on steroids. It's just all the time.
Yes, because with developmental charts or whatever you want to call them, systems, you can anticipate and say after this regression, then there'll be this because we've studied humans for a long time.
Right.
But people or kiddos from trauma and hard places, they don't fit into that developmental chart like we want them to. And so then you're like, is this just development or is this something else or am I missing something else? And I think it comes from a loving place. You're trying to understand these children so that you can care for them better. And you're doing that for them. But the selfish part is like, you're doing that for you too, because I'm exhausted. We've got to figure out how to do this a different way. We can't continue this. This is unsustainable.
No, and that's a part that we experienced, and many people on this podcast, that exhaustion. Talk about that in foster care. Oh. Mental, physical, emotional. Yes.
There's probably another that I'm not thinking of. But physically exhausting, as in, I feel like I was always on high alert because you're taking care of kiddos that you don't understand and you don't know what they're going to do next. And when you think you understand them and you think you can predict what they're going to do next, then they do something that you weren't expecting.
And then there's also people watching you, almost essentially grading how well you are doing said parenting. Because then you got to report a log when you fail at it because they busted a lip or they, split their lip open or whatever it was, just being a normal toddler kid. And you're like, oh gosh, now I got to explain myself, what happened, what was the situation, like all the things that go into living. I call it living in a fishbowl when we foster cared because everybody was just watching.
You would end up being thankful that your own biological child was the one that got scraped and hurt.
Yes. You're like, yes, no report on this one.
Goodness, it was you. There was an epic Peppa Pig brawl late at night. And our biological daughter was the one that got hurt more. And so in retrospect, right, it was like, okay, well, we don't have to write up anything on her. I mean, they both got hurt, so we definitely had to write up something, but it was less write up.
Right. That was when we adopted. Every time we adopted, I was like,
no
more paperwork, no more, like, let's go do the thing. Scrape yourself up. Be a normal kid. And I don't have to report it to anybody and try to explain why this is a normal injury and it has nothing to do with abuse or neglect or anything else, which is a load in and of itself, mentally and emotionally.
Yes. And you always feel bad that you're having to write up these reports because then you start like, oh my gosh, am I?
Yeah.
Like, am I doing something that we shouldn't do because I have to write up these reports? Yeah.
We came home from my son's adoption and he was like 3. We went straight to the trampoline and just like jumped on the trampoline with him. And he just had a ball because he always the big girls were on the trampoline and we're like, bro.
Please don't.
And so, it was the best thing ever. Because I'm like, I can't write up that you fell off the trampoline, like, because you're not supposed to be on it.
Yes.
But, it's all those things, like normal kid things that you have to kind of like, is it worth it? ROI, like costs. Is this going to lead to questions that are going to be a pain to answer?
And not that any of the reports we had to write up about accidents led to investigations.
Right.
That didn't happen in our family. Were we investigated? Yes.
Yeah.
We've had investigations, 3 times. And you know that it's coming and you know that you didn't do anything wrong and it doesn't matter. At least for me.
Oh, me
I'm
either.
still like, oh my gosh, you're just rethinking it and I must do something wrong because they're investigating me. Ugh. Yeah. But you're also thankful they're investigating because it shows they care. And
because there are situations where I know when we were training to be foster parents, I was so grateful that she was like, if you foster long enough, you will be investigated. Like, it's not a knock against your parenting or anything. It's just, it comes with territory. Like, if you're doing it for long enough, you're going to get investigated. And sure enough, same thing 3 times. And one of them was because she was learning to walk and fell and busted her lip. And they're like, you punched her in the face. I'm like, I did not. Like,
that's interesting.
No, she was walking and learning to walk.
Like, that would have been before us, maybe, because one of our young toddling ones got out of the car, tripped on the curb, like at the driveway at our house, and just fell and bit like his mouth. And I was like, oh man, you're bleeding. Okay, well, I'll have to write that up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until hours later when I was trying to brush his teeth that he was like, sticking every now and I was like, oh, there's a hole in your tongue.
It's the tongue too. Great.
So we didn't get investigated for that.
There you go.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it is it's a pain, but then you're also like, okay, but I want you investigating the homes where they are not taking care of kids. So it's because, again, it comes with the territory, but it is part of the exhaustion because I just remember that release when we adopted of like, just kind of fully exhaling and being like, whew, like we can just be a normal family now and you can be a kid and go run and fall off your scooter and all the normal things that happen.
Yeah, when kiddos would leave and not be a part of our family, at least physically anymore, there definitely is a release like that of like, okay, we can put our guard down, we can just be who we're going to be, and people aren't going to be walking through our house all the time.
I was talking to another foster mom and we were like, do you remember like when we were fostering, it was all, you had like this almost like this investigative log going on in your head. You're like, okay, we were at SeaWorld by the bench and he fell and hit. Like you were already, taking records, like you were going to have to report to the police. And after you adopt, you're just like, oh, nobody cares that you tripped and fell into the bench at SeaWorld. Like,
people don't do that.
No. Yeah.
I think, that's probably part of the like emotional exhaustion of 100%. All of that's going on in your head all the time. You don't even realize because this is just what you have to do.
Yeah. And then you realize the people that should not be fostering, they're not doing that because they don't even care. Mm-hmm. So they're not even, it's not exhausting for them because they're not even thinking about these things. Mm. Yeah. So what, if anything, did you have expectations about the system? And then once you got into it, were you like,
working in healthcare, right? It's very much a system. So you understand that you are a part of the system and you're one part of it, and there's a lot of things going on. So from that standpoint, like I understood that and assumed that CPS had that. They had to.
Right.
To function.
For sure.
And then you meet the people who are directly working with you. And that's where I guess I was surprised. Mm-hmm. I thought the caseworker that was working with us, or not with us, but for this kiddo, would maybe not be so system oriented or so checklist forward. Friends, I love a checklist. Okay, right, so I'm not against checklists. Right. They make the world go round with Post-its.
Right.
But I felt like it was just very forward. It was all about the checklist. And did you do this? And did you do this? And did you do this? And not necessarily, okay, so when you went and did that thing that's on the checklist, what happened?
Yeah.
And going back to like just the empathy of understanding that people are in this and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like you understand that they have to ask those questions and you're glad that they do because there's accountability and we need to make sure that these things are happening. They are important.
Right.
I just feel like because of that, you lose the personal side of it.
100%.
And that, I think, is what got sad and exhausting.
Yeah.
You are this kiddo's caseworker. You are the closest person to them. I mean, you are in charge of them. I'm not even really in charge of them.
You're not at all.
And so you aren't asking questions about them. And I wish you were, because then you would know them more personally, and you would be able to advocate for them better.
Right.
Because I hope that's what you're doing.
Right. I think that was a big learning thing for me too, because I was like, oh, you're seeing them as a person. And what I realized was mostly for some of the ad litem attorneys we had some great ones, but we also had some ones that they were a last name on a manila folder. And they didn't know these kids at all. And I'm like, but you're their voice in court. You're literally helping decide their future. And you just saw them for 30 minutes, 24 hours before you went to court. And you're going to speak on their behalf. And that was the wildest thing to me because I'm like, how do you sleep at night?
I think out of our 5 kiddos, I actually spoke to 2 attorneys.
Yeah.
I didn't speak.
Fun fact, they're supposed to speak to us once a month as foster parents.
Fun fact.
No, we had meetings with the judges in San Antonio, and they said ad litems are supposed to be checking on the kids once a month.
That's the expectation.
Literally never. Never.
I mean, not even half of my kiddos did I ever speak to an attorney. So that's not once a month. That's whatever.
And now that, a lot of it's virtual, and I'm like, I'm sure there's even less accountability.
Because we did have some of our kiddos were during COVID. And so we had done in-person court, and then we did COVID court, and I was like, what is this? What is this? And they decided, those girls, like it went to trial. It went to multiple day trial.
On
Zoom. Trademark, sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are we even deciding this when people aren't even sitting in the same room?
No.
I mean, people have to have their cameras on and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just wild. I sat waiting to be in the virtual room or whatever. Waiting room for hours. Waiting for, okay, it's your turn. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was wild experiences, but.
It was. And there was and that's what we talked about even with the foster families we knew at the time. There's some ways around that as the foster parent to try to make your kid a person and not a Amazon package that we're like deciding where it gets delivered next. And we, sent pictures and sent narratives to everybody, whether they asked for it or not. And there are ways to advocate as the father. I don't want everybody to be like, oh my gosh, it's horrible. It is, but that's why we need good people in foster care who are willing to advocate and fight and be creative and figure out how to do it. And that was one of the things, like, I was like, well, if you're not going to make them personal, I'm going to make them personal. Like, you're going to have a picture, you're going to hear about when they started walking and how they're doing in school and all the things. And so you'll look good in court because I just gave you all the answers to the test questions. But also, hopefully, as you were reading, you were like, oh, this is a real kid.
Well, and when they're asking their questions, their checklist or whatever, you're answering them. Yes, we went to that one. And also, did you know, like you're saying, you're including it and being like, this is weird.
Yeah.
This is weird the way that this conversation is going. And so I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you.
We're going to make it human. We're going to make it human for sure.
And they have so many cases. Like, that's the other thing. Like, they have to run a play because they couldn't do it without the play.
Yeah.
Which isn't, well, you and I aren't going to solve that piece today. But I understand that it is hard. And I also can empathize with, again, going back to being a medical professional, you are in people's hard. No one is expecting to come and see you.
Right.
And as a human, you do kind of have to care for yourself and leave things at the office.
For sure.
Because when you start off, you don't know how. And so I also understand that from a caseworker standpoint or an ad litem or whatever. Yeah. The space that they work in and day out is hard and yucky. It is not pretty, and it is oftentimes the worst that our society has to show.
And in our tenure, the caseworkers who were the best at advocating for our kids were the ones that ended up quitting because they had the heart, they saw them as people, and it burned them out because the system required so much of them that the thing they wanted to do on the heart level, if they spent time doing that, then they didn't check all their little boxes, and then they were getting dinged on the professional side, but they were killing it at the actual relationship side. So it is somewhat of a no-win situation. And there are some of them that find that little razor's edge to walk down and be able to do both. But yeah, not the 22-year-old that just got out of social work school. Like, she can't, that's a steep hill to climb to expect that.
And I love how churches and the Alliance have tried to come alongside caseworkers to encourage them and to support them as best as we can, because they are boots on the ground. They are, to some degree, they are representing us, right? Like the greater citizens of this city, and saying this is not right. Yeah. And they're the boots on the ground to help bring that to light.
Yeah. And when we started, it was very much whose team are you on? It was more of that. Now it's gotten, I think, a lot better where it's more like, no, we're all on this kids team, like we're all trying for this. And so, through the caring for caseworkers and like loving on them and realizing, like, if a kid has one caseworker, which 0 of my kids had one caseworker, they have one caseworker 76% of the time they find permanency. If they have more than one, it drops down to like 19%. They don't find permanency because
it's always
all
changing.
The times we change, get a new caseworker. I'm like, okay, here's the history of this case. Like, let me catch you up. And then, 3 months later, they're gone. We got another one. And it's so hard for that kid to actually have a voice in court when the person just got it because Susie quit, and now I just got 20 new cases and I got to go to court tomorrow. Like, it is an impossible ask a lot of times for them. And I also realized that nobody goes into casework if they didn't have a heart in the first place. Some of them just get burned out and cynical and jaded because of the system that they're having to work inside of, and also compassion for them.
And hard. Yeah, they're working in really hard places.
Yeah, these are not stories you want to take. And then they're picking up kids and flying to El Paso at 2:00 in the morning, like all the things, so hard. So you've mentioned church a few times. You've, kind of exposed to foster care through church. How has your journey through foster care impacted your faith, your view of God, your view of your relationship, your faith walk? How has foster care impacted all of that?
I have learned that I am most dependent when I'm at the end of myself, which I hate.
100%. Yes. You're like, Lord, I want to be strong, but not at the cost of.
I just love being competent.
Yeah.
I just love like killing it, obviously. Ego, right? Like,
being in your sweet spot.
I just love when it is working. But as you've already heard me say, it's all about Kendall, right? In those places. And so not till I'm at the end of myself, I don't know what to do with these kids in my house that are running around like banshees, breaking lots of things, exposing my children to so many things.
New vocabularies.
Favorite is when my husband takes our 2 kids upstairs. Our foster children are 2 and 3, for the audience to realize. Takes our kids upstairs and says, I'm going to tell you all of the curse words that I know. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and I'm going to tell you the definition of it, and I'm going to tell you how it's used in society, and I just want you to hear it from me first. Well, or second, or third, yeah.
Second. Yeah. The 2-year-old already said that, Mom.
Oh my gosh. But he was like, they're going to need an education really fast. So here we go. And it was just very factual, but I was just like, I can't, like, I'm downstairs with the crazy things that are going on, and he's upstairs, and I'm like, I cannot believe that this is happening right now.
I had a friend who was a foster mom, and the little guy that came to her, he was like 2 or 3, and the only word he knew for the mom or woman who was caring for him was the B word. And it was just rolled off his tongue. And she's like, how do you go out in public when this is just like, and how do you teach a 2 or 3-year-old? Like, okay, I understand that's what you think this is, but that's that we're going to call me something different.
That's not my name.
That's not my name.
My name's actually.
Yeah. But she said it was, those things where you're like, wait, this was not in training. Like,
yeah. Like, you can't even prepare yourself for that because you have no idea. Yeah. Or when they say the phrase that they've heard so many times that they even know how to enunciate it and like punch it. Like they've heard it so many times. They don't know what it means.
Right. But you're like, that was appropriate. You really.
They use it appropriately. Yeah. And you're like, make it stop. I'm so sorry. We got really off on curse words, which was fun. But what was the question?
Faith.
Oh,
yes.
Love that.
Similar. Very tied together. So
when I'm at the end of myself.
Yeah. That one.
So, when you're at the end of at yourself, at least for me, that is the only time when I want to be dependent on God. But only when I have that experience do I realize that I can be dependent on Him, and that He is the foundation, and that foundation is strong and it's unwavering. It's not going to crack.
Right.
But not until you have that experience to kind of like stand on that foundation and actually see, is it going to be strong? Do you know it's strong? It's the book smarts versus street smarts. Like, I can know that God is trustworthy, that God is my firm foundation, right? That He can withstand the waves, all those things. But until you actually get to experience it,
it has to be tested.
Like, it's actually true for me.
Yeah. You sound like you've had a lot of little kids. So in general, most of the kids that you had in your home, small chance that they're actually going to remember you.
True statement.
So how do you reconcile that?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
But you reconcile it knowing that God is the Father of these children, and whatever your best hope for them or what you think your plan would have been better than what happened, you have to come to grips with knowing and understanding more than book smarts. You have to believe it, that He is in control and that He ultimately has the best for His people, for His kids.
Did you have kids that went back to situations that you were nervous about?
Yes. I would say half the time.
So how do you reconcile he's a good father and you're like, but
Make
do
it
you
make
see
sense.
this? Like, I have some red flags that maybe you've missed.
It might be hard to believe, but I don't know everything.
Weird. Huh.
Even though it seems like I do, it's actually true.
Yeah.
You were here for me to admit it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. God, I have all these red flags. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you thinking? And those are all things that I can say and believe. And they can be true. And also at the same time, he knows more than I do. He knows the hearts of people, and I can't see people's hearts.
Yep.
I can't truly know what people's hearts are. I can think I know by their motivations and what I'm seeing, but it's all a guess.
Right.
And probably a really good guess, because remember how good I am?
Right. I mean, you're a trained professional, so obviously your guesses count for more.
But yeah, I mean, you just have to be like, okay, this is my role. That's what I had to remember. This is my role. This is what I am being asked to do. I don't actually have control of where the kids go next or when they leave my house. Can you just tell me, are they going to be here for Halloween or not? Because I need to know if I need to get
We're
a
getting
costume.
matching outfits. How many characters are in the scene? Yeah. I think that's another thread that I've seen through it too, is that faith piece of like, he's a good father, I can trust him. And I remember very distinctly being on the top of the parking garage downtown after court one day and I was in my mom's car because she had my kids with the, SUV, and court had not gone the way that I would have voted for. And I was like, why? Like, what are you doing? Why did you call me and our family to sacrifice for these months when you're just going to put her back in the same situation that she was in? And like shaking my fist at him. And that was one of the first times I was like, oh, lament is real. Like, God can handle it. I can be both faithful and confused. Like, those things don't have to be resolved. And I can trust that there was a season, hopefully for a reason that I don't fully comprehend, and I can either trust what I know about the Lord, or I can try to figure it out all on my own. And I know me, and that's probably it's not the best plan. And it was just, I remember thinking, this is very much a fork in the road of my faith of like, am I going to trust who God says he is, or am I going to figure out this whole thing by myself? And that's what foster care brought me to.
Yeah. And speaking to lament, like, golly, can we talk about that more?
Yeah. Nobody talks about
Everywhere?
it. Yeah.
I know.
But it's all through the Psalms and the Proverbs. Like, David is like,
that's all
letting him have it.
That's all he does.
Like, literally letting him have it. And none of us are brave enough to pray, like, what are you doing? Like, you've totally screwed this up. You missed it. Like, just to really let it all out. But I think that's where we miss actually having a strong relationship. Because if you're in a relationship with somebody, spouse, you tell them what you think about all the things. And we just don't do that with God.
Well, we don't even read a whole psalm.
Right.
We just read this little verse that says,
trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understandings. And all these things will be added unto you.
Right.
Let's not look at the one before that or after that.
Exactly. So, like, truthfully for me, I didn't really realize it. The Psalms were full of lament.
Yeah.
I have gone to counseling and to work through
Preach.
through some of that with somebody else that is competent and can be an outside voice versus the scary voice inside my head. And was like introduced to lament, and I was like, yeah, I've heard that word before. Like, I've seen a dictionary.
Moving on.
I don't actually know what the definition of that is. So yeah, I have actually read several Psalms all the way through.
There you go.
So I encourage anybody else to actually do that.
To not just pull the coffee mug, couch pillow verse out of there. Yeah.
But there's so much tension and in the Psalms and in lament and in life. And I have been very thankful to see that and realize that that is what I'm experiencing and being like, oh, okay, I didn't realize other people felt this way. I just thought I was crazy or not doing it right or whatever, not trusting.
Right.
But it actually is just this tension that we get to live in this side of heaven and get used to it and figure out how to live in it and work through it and then come back to it and then work through it again.
Because I think anything else is really, you're either lying to yourself or you're putting on this like image mask thing, where you're like, I love the Lord and everything's great. But you have all these internal questions and doubts but you're never voicing them and you're never actually processing through them with a counselor or a spouse or somebody else. And that just limits your faith, limits your relationship with the Lord, limits the way that you can serve other people when they're going through things.
It limits you and your impact that you could theoretically have.
For sure. And it's a skill you'll use as your kids get older too. Trust. Teenage into young adults, like so much of what I went through in foster care, I'm like, man, I would have been a train wreck had I not already like worked all this out with the Lord. Like we'd already processed this. We've already been there. Because then it wasn't a scary place to go when things happen, when my kids were building their testimonies. Or,
Is that how we spin that?
That's how you spin it. So you can use that later for free.
You spoke about just like how that earlier season of parenting and fostering and then led you into this next season. And I didn't realize like one of the beauties of fostering was how educated I would be. And yes, it was intended for kids from hard places, but we're all from hard places, varying degrees, but
Correct.
Living on earth is hard. And we have all of this skill and I never realized it until years later and just talking to other parents and they would talk about something. I'd be like, oh, well, this is what you do. Or have you tried this? And they would have no idea what I was talking about. And so that is something that was like a secondary blessing that I never even thought of. Just how much training, different perspectives. There's not one way, and that's okay. And I think that has been really cool after our we don't foster right now, but just this next season of meeting other people and being like, hey, this is something I learned. You should try it.
And also, hopefully, if you haven't already, you will. A lot of us that have now, we did this a long time ago, we got young adults. You'll see it in the kids that stay forever, whether biological or adopted, they see it. Their lens is different than the lens that I grew up with because they were foster siblings, because they've seen all of that in our home and like had to navigate it. Like they just have a different lens and they see people differently, and it's great.
Yeah. We shelter them, of course, because we love them, but they weren't sheltered as much as others because they got to see what some other people endure. And it gives them empathy and it helps them understand the bigger picture than what's just going on in their little sphere.
Exactly.
Oh, there's all these other things going on. It helps with like thankfulness, of course. And I think back to my kids, they interact really well with a lot of different kinds of people because they've got exposure to a lot of different kinds of people. And so they can jump in and play with kids. And my oldest is very good at the art of distraction as a behavioral technique. Redirection. And so he's fantastic at redirecting.
Learned skill at home. That's great. Well, Kendall, this is great. Is there anything we didn't say that you want to say?
I mean, I don't think that we sugarcoated it too much.
No, that is like my promise on this podcast. Okay. We do not tie this up in a pretty bow.
Yeah.
Because that's just not true. It's not.
It's not true of anything, but some things are easier to fake tie up. I think for people that are wondering, like, how do people do this and I would never do this or different things like that. Foster parents are just like anybody else.
Wildly average. Wildly average.
If not below average, because they chose to do this. But they're wildly average people that, for a lot of people I know, I won't say for everybody, something was placed on their heart or in their mind to do this, because only crazy people
100%.
or people looking to make a buck are doing it otherwise. But they're just average people who are stepping into something because they saw the hurt and they said, why not me? Like, why can't I make a difference there? Or called to it, maybe. It's different for everybody. But do not think that foster parents are
some special breed.
Yeah. Yeah, they are definitely not. And they don't want to be put on a pedestal because they and we mess up just like everybody else every single day. Yeah. In the exhaustion, I left my family for a couple of hours. I mean, I was done. I was done, and I just yelled, "I'm leaving," and started walking.
I'll be back sometime.
Whenever. Maybe. Am I coming back? So, anyways, they're not a special breed, but it does take a certain heart and a mind to be able to step into it. And I think the people that do it very well are relying on the Lord.
100%.
And they are trying to rely on the Lord.
As I told the lady that taught us to be foster parents, she's agnostic. And I was like, if I didn't love Jesus, this is not where I'd be on a Saturday. Like, I would not be learning to be a foster mom, because why? Why? So yeah, I think it is very much a place that people who are trying to be disciples of Jesus, this is a place that you can step in and serve. And not that everybody has to foster and adopt, but even if you just do it for one kid and one, we've had several people on here that were one and done. And I'm like, but you did it for the one. Like, great. It's perfect. Just do that for the one, or serve that family in your church.
Yeah. And maybe that's what you were called to do. Yeah. You were asked to do, and you did it.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's so many secondary blessings that you won't realize until later. Like I talked about, like just parenting. We have so many things there. But are there hard things for your own kiddos if you have them? Yes.
Yeah.
But are there things that are fruit on the other side too? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So it's not all terrible, and it's not all wonderful. No. But I personally believe it is worth it to see something and say, I'm not going to look away. I'm actually going to step into it.
And isn't that what we want to model for any of the kids that we have in our home? We're like, you see something in the world that like pings you, go do something about it. You're not going to do it perfectly. You're going to end up on your face and walk out of your house, but that's what we're called to do. Fail forward, fall forward, like just go for it. Well, Kendall, thanks for joining us today. And if you guys have enjoyed this, we have half a year's worth of podcasts and just incredible stories from people who were courageous enough and gritty enough just to take the next step and the next most faithful step. And if you have any questions or wonder how you can get involved, our website has a wealth of knowledge at alliancefororphans.org, and we'll see you next time.